a time where the world was flipped upside down. People traded in their hand tools for machines, horses for locomotives, and small farms for sprawling factories. But hold on, this wasn't just about new gadgets. The Industrial Revolution in America wasn't all engines and gears. It was about people, ordinary folks, brilliant inventors, and even those who were left out of the progress picture. We're diving deep into how this revolution reshaped America from the ground up. Buckle up, because it's going to be a fun, fast, and fascinating journey through time. But wait, how did we even get here? America in the late 1700s was mostly rural, right? People lived on farms, handmade what they needed, and rarely left their local areas. What changed? Enter the War of 1812. British blockades cut off our imports, especially textiles, so America had to figure out how to make stuff fast. The spark was lit. We went from homemade to factory-made, thanks to brilliant innovators like Samuel Slater, the father of the American Industrial Revolution. He smuggled British textile machine designs to the US, and boom. The first successful water-powered cotton mill was born in Rhode Island in 1790. But the story doesn't end there. Slater was just the beginning. Whitney's cotton gin revolutionized agriculture by making it super easy to separate cotton fibers from seeds. And then Whitney introduced interchangeable parts. Think of it as the assembly line's great-grandfather. Okay, so now we have machines and cotton, but where's all this action happening? Factories? These beasts became the heart of the Industrial Revolution. In places like Lowell, Massachusetts, enormous textile factories popped up, and suddenly the American workforce looked very different. Here's something you might not know. Many of these factory workers were women. Lowell became famous for the Lowell Mill Girls, young women who left farms to work in textile mills. It sounds like an adventure, right? Independence, money, and freedom from the farm. But the reality was less glamorous. Long hours, harsh conditions, and low pay. And it wasn't just women, children were pulled into the workforce too, especially in coal mines and factories. Child labor wasn't just normal, it was expected. Time to meet the heroes of our story. Along with Samuel Slater and Eli Whitney, we have the incredible Robert Fulton, who created the first commercially successful steamboat in 1807. This bad boy transformed transportation, making travel faster and trade easier. And then there's Henry Ford, who much later perfected the assembly line to make cars accessible for everyday Americans. Ford's vision didn't just revolutionize the car industry, it changed the way Americans worked and lived. But with every invention came a cost. The rise of machines meant a sharp decline in artisan jobs, pushing many skilled workers out of business. All right, let's pump the brakes for a second. The Industrial Revolution wasn't just progress and innovation, it had a darker side. The factory boom in the North didn't just rely on machines, it also relied on cheap labor, including from enslaved people in the South. Think about it, the cotton gin increased the demand for cotton, which meant more enslaved labor was needed to pick that cotton. The South's economy became even more dependent on slavery, which fueled divisions leading up to the Civil War. But enslaved people weren't the only ones affected. Native Americans were forced off their lands as railroads and factories expanded westward, thanks to policies like the Indian Removal Act of 1830. And children, as young as 8, worked in dangerous conditions with little to no education. Let's take a closer look at how different groups experienced this revolution. Women, while gaining economic opportunities, were often stuck in grueling jobs. The Lowell Mill Girls tried to push back, forming some of the first labor unions in American history. Imagine women in the 1830s going on strike. That's some serious girl power. Children were hit hard too. They worked long hours in mines and factories, often with dangerous machinery. It wasn't until the late 1800s that reforms were made to limit child labor. But it wasn't all grim. These movements eventually led to labor rights for everyone. So, why does the Industrial Revolution matter today? It laid the groundwork for modern America. The rise of industry brought urbanization, public education reforms, and a more connected nation. It's the reason we have assembly lines, mass production, and even the 9-to-5 workday. Crazy, right? But it also left us with lessons about inequality, labor rights, and the environment. Looking back helps us understand how to build a better future. The Industrial Revolution wasn't just a moment in time, it was the launch pad for the America we know today. From the sweat of factory workers to the genius of inventors, every cog in the machine played a part. And guess what? You're part of that legacy too. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep exploring.